So hello everyone and welcome back to the another great day of our POTD streak of day 176, I guess. Yep. So let us see what today's question is about and we will proceed ahead with the multiple approaches if possible. And before starting, if you're new to this channel, please like, share and subscribe so that we can learn, maintain and grow our streak together. So the name of the question is unequal arrays. It's a medium category question. Let us read the question again. So you are given two arrays A and B, and we are allowed to do some operations. Our operations क्या है that you can choose I and jth index, right? That I should be greater than equals to 1 and j should be less than equals to n, and both the indexes should not be same. That's the first constraint. Second constraint is that if you have chosen those two indexes, then for a of I, then for ith index you can do a of I plus 2, and for the jth index you can do the element at the j minus 2. Similarly, we have to find the minimum number of operations required to make a equals to b. And now a making equals to b it is saying that the frequency of each element should be equal in both of them. Okay, so it's not like that for each and every index the element should match. It's like the frequency should match, right? An array may contain duplicate elements. So for 2, 5, 6, 1 to 10, let us see what they are saying is. Let us first drive in that how the input and output is coming, and then only we can think of the approaches if possible, right? So 2, 5, 6, 1, 2 and 10, right? What they are saying is that let's say this is the A array and this is the B array. Okay, let me use some different color. Yep. So they are saying is do plus 2 here and do minus 2 here, right? So the A will be now changed to 2, 3 and 8. Then again saying that plus 2 again and then minus 2 again, right? So it would be 2, 1 and 10, and you can clearly see that the frequency of the elements in B is now matching with the frequency of elements in A, right? So this was the first step you did and this was the second step. So the total steps required is 2. The minimum total steps required is 2. But how can we do that, right? So please pause this video here and try to think anything you may think of to solve this question. Maybe you can try thinking in for what all the test cases it's not possible to make the conversion, right? ठीक है, तो ठीक है, चलो शुरू करते हैं. So observations, let me share some observations, right, and then we can proceed ahead. तो बात करते हैं यार कि कब इससे कन्वर्ट नहीं कर सकते. What are all the possible cases where we cannot convert it, right? The first observation is when I'm saying is that when sum is not equal, and sum is not equal of a and b. Why I'm saying so? Because in each and every operation what you are doing plus 2 and minus 2. So this implies that the overall sum will remain constant for each and every array, whatever number of operations you did, right? So if you're doing plus 2 and minus 2 at the same time to a particular number, then the entire sum will remain constant, right? So in the given question, the sum of a should be equals to sum of b, else we need to return minus 1. That is not possible, and you can verify it as well. You can clearly see 2 plus 5 plus 6 is nothing but 13, and similarly b is 13, right? Okay, second observation I can think of, I can share with you is that what happens that if you do plus 2 and minus 2 to a particular number. So let's say if you have an odd number, and if you do plus 2 and minus 2 in this number, then the resultant will always be a odd number, right? And suppose you have an even number, right? And if you do plus 2 and minus 2 in that even number, then the resultant will also be an even number. That is very clear. I don't need to explain with a dry run, right? So this implies first observation says that the sum should be equal, right? And whenever a number is coming, let's say if it's odd, if I'm doing an operation plus 2, it is giving me odd number, and similarly for the even number. So can I say that the number of odd elements in A, right, should be equals to number of odd elements in B, right? Agar aisa nahi hua, then I will say that you have to return minus 1. Clear? From this first point we deduce the second observation, and then we are deriving the second conclusion. And similarly in the case for even as well, right? So मैं यहाँ पे odd मैं लिख देता हूँ similarly for even, right? तो हमें बस एक ही चेक करने की जरूरत है. Let's say in this particular array 2, 5 and 6, if you have decided कि odd यहाँ पर क्या है, odd 1 है. Let me use a different color. The odd number of elements here is 1 and the even is 2, right? So and the size is 3. So clearly you can see that if you have just checked for the odd elements, and this in the B array also it is the odd is 1 and the rest will be always be equals to the total size minus the odd elements, that is equals to 2, right? So you just have to check that एक constraint satisfy, right? We just either you check that the number of even is equals to in A as well as in B, or either you check that number of odd elements in A is equals to B, right? ठीक है, तो ये दो observations हो गए हमारे पास. Now what we can do is, now the third ask was that you have to do in minimum operations, right? Minimum operations. तो बड़ी ऑब्वियस सी बात है यार कि लेट्स से यू हैव अ नंबर 1 and 10. अब मैं बोलूं कि इसको तुम करके दिखाओ +2 and -2 and try to match it, right? Then you will require more steps. अगर मैं कोई दूसरा नंबर दे दूं लेट्स से 8 and 10, right? और मैं दे दूं लेट्स से 8 and 12, right? So you will clearly say that यहाँ पे -2 कर दो और यहाँ +2 कर दो और बोथ बस एक स्टेप में काम हो गया, right? बट इस केस में ऐसा नहीं होगा, है ना? तो लेट्स से दिस नंबर इज 8, राइट? इफ देयर इज अ वास्ट डिफरेंस, राइट? तो मैं तुम बोलोगे पहले यहाँ -2 करो फिर यहाँ +2 करो, राइट? तो पहले ये 3 होगा और फिर ये क्या होगा 6 होगा, देन अगेन +2 -2 करके करना होगा. सो द इंटायर कैच हियर इज दैट if the difference is large between two numbers, then the number of operations of +2 and -2 will increase, right? तो अगर हमें मिनिमम ऑपरेशंस चाहिए तो हम उन्हीं दो नंबर को सेम करने की कोशिश करें. लाइक वी सेलेक्ट दोज टू नंबर्स व्हिच हैव अ मिनिमम डिफरेंस, राइट? तो इसका क्या मतलब है कि वी हैव these numbers as what 3, 5 and 6 and the second array element has 1, 2 and 10, राइट? अब हमें पता है कि इवन और ऑड तो सेम ही होंगे, तो पहले पहले उनको अलग कर लेते हैं, राइट? तो 3 और 5 ये ऑड हो गया और let's make it 2 and 6 and the odd is 5, right? Similarly here 2 and 10 and the odd is 1, right? ठीक है, तो अब बस इवन को देखो यार, ठीक है? ये 2 and 6 and 2 and 10. अगर मैं लिख देता कि अगर 2, 6 को मैं इक्वल करना चाहता हूँ 10, 2 पे, मैं चाहता हूँ कि 2 को 10 से इक्वल कर दो, 6 को 2 से इक्वल कर दो, राइट? तो डेफिनेटली यहाँ पे जो x स्टेप्स आते हैं और यहाँ पे जो x स्टेप्स आएंगे, बिकॉज यू कैन क्लियरली सी दैट द फर्स्ट एंट्री ऑफ a एंड द सेकंड एंट्री ऑफ a b इज इक्वल, राइट? तो यहाँ पे स्टेप्स तो 0 की जरूरत पड़ जाएगी और यहाँ पे हमें 6 और 10 विच इज़ वेरी क्लोजली रिलेटेड, राइट? तो हम यहाँ पे क्या कर देंगे, बस एक स्टेप में हमारा काम हो जाएगा, ये है ना? ऑन द कॉन्ट्रेरी कि अगर ये डिफरेंसेस लार्ज है, 2 को 10 में बना रहे, 6 को 2 में बना रहे, तो डेफिनेटली यहाँ पे x स्टेप्स है और यहाँ y स्टेप्स है, तो ये x जो होगा वो ग्रेटर देन y हो जाएगा. तो इसका मतलब है यार कि वी हैव टू दो नंबर्स बहुत विसिनिटी में होने चाहिए, क्लोजली होने चाहिए, राइट? तो क्लोजली करने के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम इसे सॉर्ट कर दें, है ना? तो ये तो ऑलरेडी सॉर्टेड फॉर्म में था, 2,6 and 2,10, 5,1, राइट? चलो अब इस पे आगे बढ़ते हैं. यहाँ तक बात डिसाइड हो गई कि दो केसेस है जहाँ पे रिटर्न -1 करना है. तीसरा केसेस है कि हमें ऑड और इवन को सेपरेट करना है सबसे पहले तो, राइट? और उसके बाद हमें देखना है कि जो सॉर्ट करके वी नीड टू डिसाइड, वी नीड टू चेंज दोज एलिमेंट्स ओनली टू ईच अदर वेयर द डिफरेंस इज लेस. ठीक है, now what can I do is, what is the difference? Let me find the difference. So the difference 2 minus 2 is 0 and 6 minus 10, we will take the ABS values, so it will be 4, and 5 minus 1 it will be 4. So this is the difference, right? इस difference को हमें खत्म करना है by using the operations of +2 and -2, ठीक है? But difference जो है, we saw that we are incrementing in +2 or -2, right? So that means we are decreasing or increasing the difference in size of 2, right? We are increasing or decreasing the difference in size of 2, correct? So that means कि ये जो difference है, 4 का जो difference है, this is nothing but हम एक step में 2 घटा रहे हैं, तो मतलब total steps क्या required होंगे? Total steps of incrementing or let's say decrementing, right? Incrementing and decrementing, okay? तो यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा, 4/2 कर देंगे डायरेक्ट, so it would be 2 and it would be 2 again, right? तो हम यहाँ पे क्या किया, total steps निकालने के लिए हमने by 2 कर दिया, जो भी difference आता है, ठीक? But this is the total number of increment and decrement, right? But the question is saying that you can increase or decrease at one particular time, or I can say at same time. At same time, yes. एक ही समय में तुम दोनों काम कर सकते हो, right? And this is the total number of increments and decrements. So that means कि हमें एक बार और फिर से by 2 करना होगा, right? So it would be 1 and 1, and this is the actual number of steps that is required, and you need to return just the sum of it, that is 2. समझ में आ रही है बात? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी था यार कि this is the actual difference between the two numbers, but we can decrease and increase in the size of 2. That is why we have divided the total difference firstly by 2. बट वी कैन डू दिस डिक्रीमेंट एंड इंक्रीमेंट बोथ एट द सेम टाइम, राइट। एक जगह पे +2 की, एक बार -2 फॉर द इंडेक्स आई एन जे, राइट। तो हमने क्या किया, एक बार फिर से बाई 2 डिवाइड कर दिया। ठीक है यार, तो इसके लिए दो टेस्ट केसेस और देखते हैं, ठीक है, दो ड्राई रन और देखते हैं। सो लेट्स गो फॉर द सेकंड ड्राई रन, और मैं अगेन आई एम यूजिंग अ वाइट कलर नाउ, ठीक है। सो नाउ यू हैव द एलिमेंट्स, लेट्स से 7, 15, 2, 4 and 2. I am spending more time on dry run, so that means I will not spending more time on the coding section, right? ठीक है, ये समझना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हमें चेक करना होगा कि सम बराबर है या नहीं, राइट। एंड नंबर ऑफ इवन एलिमेंट्स इक्वल्स टू नॉट एलिमेंट्स और नॉट। तो अगर सम निकालो आप तो कितना हो जाएगा, 15 + 4 19, 19 + 2 21, 21 + 7 28, राइट। और इसका क्या हो जाएगा, 4 5 6 28, दोनों का सम 28 है, ठीक है। तो ठीक है, पहला केस तो पास करके आइए। नाउ सेग्रीगेट द check the if the even and odd elements are same. If yes, then segregate it, right? So it will be n according in the sorting order, right? So 7, 15, और यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा 4, 22, और ये हो जाएगा 1, 1, right? Now calculate the difference. So what is the difference? The difference 4 minus 2, we will take the ABS values, right? So 22 minus 4, it would be 18, and then 7 minus 1, it is 6, 15 minus 1, that is 14, right? So this is the difference, but we can decrease and increase in the size of 2. So total increment and decrement, right? I am representing with the up and down arrow sign. So it would be 1, it would be 9, it would be 3, and it would be 7, right? And you can see that the increments, right? This is nothing but we are moving from 2 to 4. So this is a decrement, and this is nothing but the increments 4 to 22, right? So this is an increment operator. And we are going from 7 to 1, so we are decrementing it. We are going from 15 to 1, so we are decrementing it again, right? So can you comment anything that maybe the number of increments or decrements in the even side may be or maybe not equals to the number of increment or decrement in the odd side? Can you comment something on that? Please think for a while. What I am saying is that it can or cannot, like it does not have any relation, right? This is just an additional point I shared with you because I also, while forming the test cases, I thought of it as well. So that is not like you cannot make sure, right? तो इफ यू वुड हैव मेक श्योर तो फिर बस हमें इतना का कोड लिखना होता, बस इवन के लिए कोड लिखते और हमारा काम हो जाता, राइट। ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं है, देयर इज नो रिलेशन बिटवीन ऐसा करके, ठीक है। तो ठीक है, तो ये था टोटल इंक्रीमेंट एंड डिक्रीमेंट, बट इंक्रीमेंट एंड डिक्रीमेंट कैन हैपन एट द सेम टाइम, राइट। सो वी विल अगेन डिवाइडेड बाय 2, राइट। So we will sum all these things, all the increment and decrement possible, that is 9 plus 1, 10, 10 plus 3, 13 plus 7, 20. This is the all increment and decrement you have to do on a particular number to make the array A equals to B. But we can do it, increment and decrement can happen at same time, right? So we will divide it by 2 and I will say that the answer is 10, right? Let us verify for this test case कि अगर ये same answer आता है, then we'll go for the third run and then we will code it. So you can clearly see for the exact test cases we do the dry run, the output, expected output is coming as 10, right? Let us do one more dry run to understand it more, even more clearly. So let us go for a third dry run. Third. Now let us take some elements as I'm already segregating it, right? So 2, 4, 6, 1 and 3. So these are the elements. And then in the B array, the 2 to 8 and let's say 1 and 3, right? So that's the only thing I want to show, that it this thing, that the number of increment decrements in the even side may or may not be equals, right? So that is why I'm taking this third case. Okay, so what's the difference now? Let us calculate the difference first. So 2 minus 2 0, 4 minus 2 2, 8 minus 6 is 2, 1 minus 1 0, 3 minus 3 is 0, right? So this is the total. So total increments and decrements is nothing but we will again divide it by 2, so it would be 1 1 and rest all will be 0, right? So what would be the steps now? The steps, because increment and decrement can happen in a pair at one time, right? So I will say, so I will calculate the sum of this level first of all. So it will be 1 plus 1 2, and then I will again divide it by 2, so it would be just 1, right? So it is just saying that do plus 2 here and do minus 2 here, and 6 will be converted to 8 and 4 will be converted to 2, and rest all the frequency of each and every element is same, right? ठीक है, तो इसके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं? तो इसका मतलब है कि हाउ वी कैन डू इट, तो हमें तो पहले दो लिस्ट या दो एरे ऐसे मेंटेन करने पड़ेंगे जहां हमें पता हो कि वो सॉर्टेड है, राइट, और इस तरह से सेग्रीगेशन पॉसिबल है उसकी, राइट। तो मैं क्या करता हूँ कि लेट्स मेक अ 2 एरे लिस्ट, राइट। तो मैं एक x array list बनाता हूँ और एक y array list बनाता हूँ, राइट, टू स्टोर द ath array एंड टू स्टोर द bth array, राइट। और इसके लिए भी मैं सिर्फ इस array list में this would be a 2D what to say, an array with two entries, that is 0 and 1, and for each level there would be one array list, right, like this. The data structure will look like this. Yep, array list, right. Then this is a linear array. Y is a linear array with size 2, again 0 and 1, and it will look like this. There is a one array list attached to each and every index of this linear array of size 2, right. So x and y is nothing but linear array of size 2, ठीक है। और हम इसमें एलिमेंट्स को स्टोर करते जाएंगे, ठीक है। हम एक फॉर लूप ले लेंगे, राइट, लेट्स से फॉर i इक्वल्स टू 0 टू i लेस देन, नाउ आई एम शोइंग द सूडो कोड नाउ, ओके, ठीक है। और हम चेक करते जाएंगे दैट if let's say if a of I is I will check 2 percent 2 if equals to 0, right. If it is odd, then I will add it in the my x of 0 dot add ai, right. And if that's not the case, if it is odd, then I will add it in the same array list but at the 1, at the first row, x of 1 add of a of I, right. So let us do this first pre-processing first, right. So if you do this, then the array list will have the elements like this, right. So it will have the elements like this, 2 4 6 and 1 3, right. So the elements would be 2 4 6 here and 1 3 would be here. And in this, for the second array, 2 2 8 would be here and 1 3 would be here, right. But in our case, I have already showed you that it's sorted, right. But for rest of the cases it would not be the case, right. So you have to sort it again. But let us first do this pre-processing. This would be my first step, and similarly you will check for b of I. Just a of I के लिए check किया, and then you will have a, let's say, base case. Sorry. So while you are maintaining these two, the first if else and the second if else for b of I, right, and you have to do one more thing in this for loop, that you can maintain the sum as well, right. So instead of forming sum of a array and the b array, you just keep on subtracting it, a of I minus b of I, right. Sum plus equals to a of I minus b of I, and if lastly the sum is equals to 0, if sum is equals to 0, right, we will check it, and I will say that, or the list size is different, right. You can clearly see that in the x, if the first array list of the first entry is having 3 elements, then the y array list also should have 3 elements in the first row, right. So I will just check here that if x of 0 dot size, if it is not equals to y of 0 of size, right, then what I will do, then these are the cases where it is not possible, and I will say return -1, right. So please try to code this thing first, these first two steps, and then we'll proceed ahead. Okay, so I have coded the first two steps, right, where we made a 2 array list to segregate the even and odd, right. So this is the first step. We made an array list of linear array of size 2, and for each and every index on the linear array, we are making a new array list, right. And then we have the second step, which just calculate the sum and put the elements in the order of even and odd. And the second step, that if the sum is not equals to 0, we already discussed the observations, and if the size is not the same, then the conversion is not possible. The last step would be that we need to now handle this thing. We need to find the difference, right, finding the difference divided by 2, and keep the track of this uh, what to say, when you find the difference, divide by 2, and they keep the track of this sum, right. And then at the last we'll just return, let's say you are keeping the track in, let's say, in an answer variable. At the last we will just return answer by 2 again, right. So let me show you that step as well. So here's the last step. We have made an answer variable, and now we are iterating for each and every what to say, array list at each and every index, right. So for I equals to 0, I less than 2, we are first sorting it, both the list. What is happening here is now that we are sorting this list. We are sorting, let me use a different color. So we are sorting this list and this list first, and then we are maintaining the differences. That is, differences is 0 plus 0 comma 2 comma 2 here. Here you can see that, right. So that is what is stored in this answer variable. we are calculating the difference, and then we are dividing by 2 and keeping the track of the sum in answer variable, and the last we are returning answer by 2, which I have done multiple times in this dry run, right? That's what is happening. So that is it. First it goes for these two array list, and then it solves for the second which stores these odd elements, these two. Correct. What would be the time complexity of this code? So let us visualize. So we are running a for loop in the line number 60 what is it 7, and then a line number 73, and we are just if statement, and we are sorting it, right? So sorting takes nlogn time, right? So and the what to say, the worst case would be that the each and every element is, let's say, even, right? So we'll be sorting the entire array, and it would take it will give you the complexity of n log n. So the worst complexity would be o of n log n, and the space complexity would be, we are storing an array list, so it would be o of n, right? We are making two array lists, so o of n plus n. But yeah, o of 2n will, ignoring the constant, it will be o of n, and the time complexity will be n log n. And since the constraint is 10 power 5, then according to the chart we have already discussed multiple times, right? That for 10 power 5, the worst case you can use either is n root n, and you can, the worst case, right? If you go beyond n root n, it will give you TLE, and if you go what to say, उससे कम use कर लो, n root n से कम क्या हो गया, n log n, so that will not give you TLE because it would be in the range of 10 power 8. So that is it. Let us compile and run. I'll check, and then we'll hit the submit button. Okay, great. So now let us hit the submit button, and then we'll see for ourselves. Okay. So great. We have what to say. आज का भी streak complete हो गया, और मैं आपको C++ कोड भी दिखा देता हूँ how that is made. So that's the C++ code, right? The same thing we are happening. The first step was to making a vector, a linear array of two size, and each and every entry having a vector. So array list in Java and vector in C++. The same for loop to push all the and separate the odd and even elements, the base cases, and line number 61, and then we are maintaining the differences of total number of increments and decrements, and then we are finally dividing by 2, right? So this is the extra brackets here. So I will not hit the submit button for this because then it will be updated in my DSA repository. I will mention, or I will give you the the source code in the description link. So I hope this video was very helpful to you. So ये question अच्छा था आज का, and if you are new to this channel again, please like, share and subscribe so that I can also be motivated for the next day to make a new video for you guys. So till then, keep learning, keep growing, bye bye, and take care.